Kay Adams of the Up and Adams Show, formerly of Good Morning Football, was visiting with the Houston Texans at Texans training camp and spoke with Danielle Hunter, who is all business.
You know, I'm here to help the football team win football games and win championships.
And you do that by destroying quarterbacks, which I love. I was looking at the numbers this morning. It's great. You got like Jalen Hurts 3 times in a game. He's terrified. You got your hands on Mahomes last year. That was really nice. When it comes to this year, you get to face the NFC. You get to face the North. What's that going to be like going back up against Minnesota?
It's going to be fun, you know, being able to go out there with my teammates, you know, rushing together as a unit, as a defensive line. You know, all that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for us working together as a unit last year. But this year, it should be even better because we have more veterans. We have over 40 years plus of combined experience years in our defensive line room. So we're pretty excited about that.
40 years combined experience of pass rushing. I like how when asked about him individually pass rushing as well, that he talks about the group. Danielle Hunter, leader of the Texans Wolfpack pass rush.
He's a we guy, not a me guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get his, though, but he's still a we guy.
40 seems like a lot.
I guess,
Jerry Hughes helps a lot.
I was going to say, Jerry Hughes helps quite a bit.
Hunter will probably take you, halfway there by themselves.
Right, because Will Anderson's going into his second year. But you have Derek Barnett. You have Danico Autry.
Barnett, Autry, yeah, okay. I can see how you get there. I was just thinking ins only, but yeah, if you add everyone, you can probably get to 40.
If you add everybody up, you might be able to, because Mario Edwards has been in the league for a while. You could probably...
It's probably a decade.
You could probably actually get closer to 50 if we're doing our math correctly.
Yeah, you probably get close to 62 if you just add in JJ.
We counting full seasons?
Yeah,
that was
count.
ugly.
I'm sorry, that was mean.
That wasn't cool.
That
was rude.
That wasn't cool. Hey, more Danielle Hunter with Kay Adams. All right, we're excited about Danielle Hunter. He had 16 and a half sacks last year with Minnesota. But listen to what he had to say about Will Anderson, bigger, stronger in year 2.
I think with Will, he's a far ahead of the game for somebody that's going into year 2. You know, I see it every single day, how he carries himself as a player and as a human being. And I'm very impressed because my years of being in the league, I've never seen anybody do such a thing. And the year he had last year, it was a phenomenal year, but I felt like this year, only the sky's the limit for him. You know, and being able to have the defensive line that we have with who we have inside and whoever's on the end, I feel like opposing offensive lines, they'll have to pick their poison. You know, because I feel like we got pretty much technicians all around the board. So we rush together as a unit.
Never seen anyone do such a thing. Brings up that we rush together as a unit. Loves him some Will Anderson, though.
It's funny. When he was saying that, when we were listening to that, Paul, I do feel like Will Anderson's almost been and quietly forgotten about, just with all the hype around C.J. Stroud and the wide receiver room, and just no one's really focused on Will Anderson, the player and the talent.
Well, yeah, the key to this year is guys like Anderson in that pass rush stepping up on a level where it can hide some of the limitations of the secondary. And if the defense is as good as it can be this year because of that front level of the defense, and assuming it stays healthy, then a lot of those questions that we played with Joe Fortenbaugh being a bit of a Texan zagger, thinking they're not going to make the playoffs next year, even though he thinks they're good, that defense can erase a lot of those.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and Will Anderson, think about how slow he started last year, too. We had 1 sack in week 1, and then he didn't get his next sack until the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah, wasn't Jeremy Branham calling him a bust?
Probably.
Give or take?
It seems likely.
Maybe not the B word.
Laporta and Gibbs than...
Gotcha, that's what he said.
Laporta and Gibbs or Will Anderson?
Fantasy football loving Jeremy Branham.
We do love fantasy football. I'm in a league with Jeremy. It's very intense. It's the most intense fantasy football league I'm in, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, look, he has 6 of his sacks after the first 7 games of the season. So he turned it on in a big way in the second half of the year. If he really is bigger, stronger, and is just as fast, he's got to be a double-digit sack guy this year.
sack totals, I'm in the same boat as like the receiver numbers, stats are for losers, final scores for winners, especially when you have this many pass rushers. But things are definitely leading towards Will Anderson having a bigger year. And for those who forget, J.J. Watt's first year didn't really do much until the end of the season, where he had the pick 6 against the Bengals and he had 3 sacks against the Ravens, the last game of the year. And then he took off for that incredible 2012 season. But I mean, I remember Peter King from Sports Illustrated at the time doing his NFL season prediction, predicting that the defensive player of the year was going to be Brooks Reed on the Texans defense.
Really?
Yeah. Reed had a good rookie year. I think Reed had 7-8 sacks or so. And he had that Viking hair and I think maybe some Clay Matthews kind of vibes going on. But yeah, it was J.J. Watt who took that and ran with it in year number 2. And Anderson, with the way that he has bulked up, I am really curious to see how that actually translates on the field. What I do know is if you want to spin zone the Texans offense and their struggles in training camp in any way, it's that Anderson and Danielle Hunter are going to be an absolute wrecking crew this year.
Yeah, there's gonna be games where they dominate that makes it almost impossible for the team to
That's
do
the
anything.
hope. Yes.
Like, it may not happen every week, but there will be a couple games this year where they just completely wreck shop. And, it might be games that you don't want. It might be, the Vikings game when you play Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, but they're gonna make life miserable for teams this year. As long as Will Anderson, I always get a little nervous when you hear about guys bulking up, because obviously one of the things that was most effective for him last year was his speed. You don't want him to slow it down too much. So hopefully he can keep his speed but add power to his game, because he's a great player. But I will say it's funny though when you said this thing about sacks though, Paul. What annoyed me the most, more than anything I've ever been annoyed by in sports, was last year with Will Anderson, when people started coming up with these make-believe numbers about how close he was to the quarterback and not getting there, and that was like the narrative.
Oh, pass rush win rate?
Yeah, I was over all.
But sacks are incredibly random. Like you can do absolutely nothing on a play and get a sack. You can do incredible moves on an offensive lineman and not get a sack and not be anywhere close to getting a sack. You can get triple teamed. You can get double teamed. Because some of the stats I think also were his double team rate or something as well.
Yeah, that was there. Just like there was one about how he was within like 2 steps of a quarterback.
Yeah,
he had the highest percentage of that in the NFL. Like, it was a bunch of stuff
Pressure rate.
Yeah. It just felt very contrived to push a narrative about Will Anderson. It's like, hey, you know what also works? My eyes tell me he's a good football player, and he's just not getting to the quarterback.
Also contrived is dismissing them entirely and acting like he's not playing well, which is what Jeremy Brandon was doing. It is. What? You're shaking your head? You're the producer of that show.
I agree.
It's ridiculous. I couldn't believe he was doing that.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're showing up for the games, right? Huh? Oh, okay, cool.
I understand that there's a certain level of like, you can have all those stats, but it's like, also what's important is actually sacking the quarterback. But I rather have the good underlying stats and then have kind of the fluky stuff where it's like he's one step away or whatever for 90% of the time. Like, I would rather have that than he had a bunch of sacks, but all of his underlying numbers are bad. Like, there are a bunch of unblocked sacks and the kind of fluky plays like that.
I get the, pointing at those numbers and maybe saying Jonathan Grenard was more important, but I mean, the Texans clearly don't feel that way because they let Grenard walk and they signed Danielle Hunter for way more money because they think Hunter's way better than Grenard. Anyway, sorry. Here's more Danielle Hunter hype. This is Nico Collins with Kay Adams talking about how scary Danielle is, and Danielle weighing in on why people think he's scary.
Danielle is so scary.
Yeah, sure.
Why is he so scary? I've never been so tense in an interview.
I mean, it's crazy, especially like when I line up in the cut split and I see him like arms width apart from me. I'm like, yo, just don't touch me.
People say that all the time, but you just gotta get to know me.
No, what do you mean? I'm tense. Like, you're an intimidating man. You don't think so?
I mean, people say that all the time.
Yeah.
But you just gotta get to know me.
I think I would pee down my leg if I was a quarterback facing you. Especially like I'm picturing like just seeing the top half of your face. Like, I would lose my mind, I think, a little bit. You like that? Yeah.
Football wise, yeah.
Football wise,
Is she spitting game?
No.
Is she flirting with Danielle Hunter?
That was what the game calls a neg there. Am I wrong? Where she's like putting him down a little bit to the point where at the very end you hear Danielle Hunter say, like, on the football field, yes. Danielle Hunter's a handsome man.
I think
she was acting like he's got like one eye out there. I didn't like that.
I think she's flirting. I think just saying like your arms are so big and.
Well, she didn't say. She said he's scary. That's not flirting. It's a little mean. I mean, from a pass rusher perspective, you want the guy to be scary, but I don't know. A little mean, Kay.
It feels like it's you're so scary, so he then opens up and is like, actually, I'm a teddy bear. That's what it seems
Yeah, like she's trying to tell the whole story of an intimidating man. And he loves to cuddle after killing quarterbacks.
I asked her, like, hey, did you ask Danielle what his biceps routine is? And by the way, I'm getting there. I just sent that out there.
Yeah. Any DMs you want to tell?
No.
Just slide in.
No, I wanted to see if anyone actually responded to it, and to my knowledge, no one did. I was like, damn, I wanted at least someone to think that was like a thirsty, desperate attempt online, which maybe it was, but I just want to get the best guests I possibly can on this
Should
show.
I reply from the ESPN 97.5 Twitter account right now, thirsty?
Thirsty question mark. I do think though, I think it blends in with a lot of what Kay Adams' comment section probably looks like.
Yeah, Queen. Yes, Queen.